Hey guys, welcome into this segment from our full-length The Onside Kick podcast. In order to get the full podcast, go down to the description, go to Blog Talk Radio / The Onside Kick to download the full thing. Enjoy, everybody. And Mark, we're going to move on into our last conversation, and this one's about your team. You wore their hoodie today. We talked about them. One of my losers for the NFL draft. Go ahead, check out our winners and losers if you guys have not already. And we're going to be talking about the Bears. And really, this is an article. We're taking you behind the pen, something we don't do here very much on the Onside Kick. There was an article from Steve Rosenblum on the Chicago Tribune today, which basically the highlight of the article was it looks like we should call this Bears season the John Fox Farewell Tour. And it kind of gave me the thought after reading it, and I'll have the article down below in the description for you guys, is the simple question of, will the Bears fire John Fox after the 2017 season? Is this going to really be John Fox's last season with the Bears?
Yeah, I think this is a huge overreaction that people are having. There was this idea that, John Fox had no idea that the Chicago Bears were going to draft him. Adam Schefter came out and said that's not true. Yet people are still saying it is. There's also the fact that John Fox himself was talking to Trubisky, just shooting the shit.
Trubisky, not Trubisky.
Trubisky.
Mitch.
And just, making small talk and having no issue with it. They're talking about this big rift, which I don't know if I can't say 100% there's nothing there, but I think this is very overblown. Right now, Chicago media just wants to shit on the Bears.
On the pick.
And really, it seems like everybody in national media wants to do the same thing. I actually was surprised Adam Schefter, those are two very different guys.
His evil twin brother, Adam Schefter.
Yeah, and I think it was Mike and Mike. He was talking about the Bears trade and seemed to be actually one of the few people who really liked it and thought this was good. The Bears did what they needed to do. Is it John Fox's last season? I think that's a little silly. If it is, if the Bears go 2-14, yeah, John Fox is gone. But this is a team that has a clear vision of where they want to go. The reason why they didn't address safety or cornerback right now is because they got some guys who are stopgaps, and we'll see what happens, and they're going to try some things out. And they said, I know that I'm in a position right now to get the best quarterback I want. And they traded, but to get the best quarterback I want in Trubisky, I can get a great safety next year. Because I don't need to be in the top 3 to get the best safety. I evidently needed to be in the top 2 to get the best quarterback. So I think it's a safe way of saying this team understands where they are right now and where they will be next year. And I think a big part of that is not getting rid of your head coach. When you get a guy like Trubisky and you want him to sit and learn behind Mike Glennon, you don't then, in his first year, get rid of his head coach, get rid of his offensive coordinator. You don't do something like that because then you're starting from ground zero again.
And just to say, just what you were saying right now in the way too earlys, and of course, I know what you guys are thinking. Well, Ricky, in the draft winners, you were like, hey, this 5th rounder, man, he was a top 5 pick in the way too earlys. Right now, the top safety that people are thinking about for next year will be Derwin James out of Florida State. I'm looking at CBS right now. They have the Bears at 5 again. I'm going wide receiver, Calvin Ridley out of Alabama. So a weapon for Trubisky.
When did that safety go
with? He went 6th.
There you go. Would have been available.
So he would have been available for the Bears as well. But to me, I look at this and I go, yes, this is John Fox's last season with the Bears. And the reason why I say that is really the point of it has nothing to do with, did John Fox know? Did he not know? The point in this article where Rosenblum goes, it's how he states it. He goes, Fox was livid about GM Ryan Pace's secrecy in trading up for quarterback Mitch Trubisky, according to a story on CBS Sports.
Being reported by La Canfora, who is very known for being wrong all the time.
I just want to say
just want to put that out there.
without that part of it, I look at this as we've got our quarterback. If the Bears go another, like we looked at the over-unders before we started recording, the Bears are at a 5. Over-under. And it's like Mike Rankin on his Trubisky segment with Sean Anderson said 6-10 is where he sees the Bears. Even with a 6-10 season, John Fox is fired. John Fox needs a winning record, and the Bears to me, I see a idea with Ryan Pace where first off, if Ryan Pace is going to, like, if there's a question at the end of the year, I'm just saying, if there's a question about getting rid of Ryan Pace or John Fox, of course, John Fox is going to be the first one to go. It's not going to be Ryan Pace, especially.
Because Ryan Pace would be the one to fire John Fox.
And plus Ryan Pace has now glued himself to Mitchell Trubisky. Like, they are linked. This is what we talk about every time, and you mention it. When you draft a quarterback this high, bam, you fuse yourself to that quarterback. And really, Mitch Trubisky is going to be the decider of if Ryan Pace stays with the Bears or eventually gets fired. And I look at this as a, well, if Mitch Trubisky in 3 years is a bust.
But that's such a hard thing to say because they could get a different quarterback who was really good.
What I'm saying is there's a possibility that if he doesn't pan out, Pace will be the one going. But I think this year what is going to happen, another 5-win season, maybe even less with the Bears, because we don't know what will happen, but I'm not too optimistic of, if you're going to say, Ricky, take the under or the over, I'm not taking the over of over 5 wins for the Bears this year, especially with that schedule. And I think at the end of the season, it's going to be one of those situations of, do we keep a guy like Fox around who has never really developed a quarterback? Let's go out. Let's fire John Fox. Let's get a guy who can work with Mitch and complete the full-on marriage. Let's go with a guy that we can link to. I think that at the end of the year, and this is me just looking into my crystal ball, Dowell Loggins is gone and John Fox is gone.
But you talk about developing a quarterback. You know who did develop a quarterback is Loggins. He's a quarterback coach. That's what he does. He developed Mariota. Mariota's a successful quarterback right now. And one of the big things out of him, like, yes, he's a little outside of his comfort zone being an offensive coordinator, but he's a quarterback-minded guy. So you have somebody. You have a defensive head coach for a reason, because it's a defensive team. And you might be able to make a point that John Fox would rather go defense in that case, and that's reasonable in that sense. I just think that, sure, it's possible the Bears could go a different direction, but John Fox is probably, besides the obvious choice of Ditka, John Fox and, of course, Hallis, John Fox is one of the most accomplished head coaches the Chicago Bears have ever had. Unfortunately, that accomplishment is not with the Chicago Bears just yet. Might never be. But I just think that as long as they are getting improvement and as long as they were going the direction that the organization wants to go in, I don't see a reason why they get rid of John Fox. If they're the under, if they're 5 wins or less, yeah, okay, John Fox is probably out of here. But if they're 6 wins, if they're 7 wins, I can't imagine that they would say, sorry, John Fox, get out of here.
See, and that's where maybe, like I said, I'm coming in. I am
assuming
going with
that they're going
I
under.
Am going with the under. Like, I am saying that 6-10.
Yeah.
That 6-10 that Mike Rankin said is it.
Is a pipe dream.
To me, is like us saying 10-6 last year.
I just think that it's very hard for me to sit here and say, I agree, there's a hot seat. But to sit here and say, is this John Fox's last season? Fuck you. Let's play some games, right? Let's play some damn games and let's find out. It's the same thing of sitting here, you know, when we talk about a guy like Trubisky, is it a waste to trade up? Not if he's good. I mean, are we getting to that level of John Maddenness right now? Yes, we are. But it's just the kind of thing like, right now, sure, there could be some tension. Mike Glennon might be pissed off a little bit. Who knows? But Mike Glennon, look at your contract. The writing was on the wall. You were here for a year or two. It's just this kind of thing where, is John Fox gone? Not if he wins games. Not if he does his job. If he doesn't do his job, then yes, sure, he'll be gone.
I think 7 wins. 7 wins, and for if he gets 7 and above, then okay, he'll keep his job. Even at 6, I think he could get fired.
I actually think, for me, I would say 6 is the breaking point between keep your job, get fired.
See, the reason why I wouldn't say that is 7 and 9 is closer to 500 than 6 and 10. And I know you're saying, well, duh, Ricky,
that's how math
simple
works.
Math.
Yeah.
But the thing I think the Bears need, and they need to go into, and
6 and 10 would double your wins, by the way.
It's exactly, but this is a point that Rosenblum in his article was being very bashy of the pick.
Yeah, he seems like his girlfriend just dumped him or something.
Like he said, Pace declared Mike Glenn the starter, which means Pace traded up for the 3rd overall pick to select.
I hate this line.
And surrender three other draft picks to select Mr. Irrelevant.
Okay, so if you were to be able to have Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, but he has to sit 1 year.
But he went in the 6th.
No. But here, let me play this out. You trade him, or you trade for him, and you get him where the Bears got Trubisky. He has to sit 1 year, but you're gonna win 6 Super Bowls.
Do I know that though?
You're gonna win, You're gonna win all this.
Do
stuff.
I know that though?
You didn't. No, you will never know it at the beginning, and that's why articles like this are fucking stupid.
What I'm saying in your situation, am I knowing?
But
what
here's
I know
the thing.
now?
Here's the thing. When you sit there and say
what I know now,
that you drafted a guy and he's going to sit for a year, therefore he's irrelevant and you are terrible. What the hell does that mean?
He's irrelevant this year because he might not play.
But he wouldn't be there next year. He wouldn't exist next year. It is now or never to draft him. What the hell is that point that he's irrelevant because you couldn't get him unless you could draft him now?
Here's the point I wanted to get to.
I just don't get it.
I just want to get to the point.
I'm tired.
I love when Mark gets angry. But the point is his 3rd one. And this is to me why this is the most important to John Fox's future is, and I'm gonna read it verbatim for quote, and it's gonna say, and I quote, Pace drafted as if he's playing New Orleans Saints color forms.
Yep.
He has Trubisky in the Drew Brees spot. Shanahan in Jimmy Graham used to be, and 6'5", 179-pound running back Tyreek Cohen as his Darren Sproles. The only thing Pace needs to fill in his game board,
and Ricky loves this part,
is a dirty, cheating, bounty-based defense. That part I think was just an easy jab at the Saints. Yeah. It's the next part. And a head coach with a clue about offense. That's what I think is going to be John Fox's undoing this year. Is it's going to have, yes, the record counts. Like I said, 7 wins, and I think he's safe. Anything under that, I think he's gone. But I think the Bears, 5-11 or under. I do not think that the Bears are going to be as good this season. I think you guys are kind of in the same spot you were this year. Not a really good football team because your schedule's really hard.
And injuries were a big issue for the team. But the team was close in a lot of games.
But here's the thing. I think what is going to be the decider in John Fox is going to be, okay, we are moving forward with this new quarterback. Do we really want, and if you are all sold on, because you said, Dowell Loggins as a quarterback coach developed Marcus Mariota. He did good things. But you said, well, he was in a new role as an offensive coordinator.
And I do think that he's a little above his pay grade. I think he's not necessarily the answer in that case.
But with him being there, and him being your main offensive mind in the room then, because John Fox is a defensive guy. Vic Fangio, I don't expect him to know anything about the offense. He's a defensive coordinator. I know you're sitting there going, he probably doesn't know what a quarterback is. I know what you're sitting there going, quarterback? You mean a cornerback? Guy I can put in the secondary and a nickel formation? But I think what's going to be the ultimate undoing for John Fox is we got a new quarterback coming in. Dowell Loggins is above his pay grade, but we're not going to get rid of him and keep John Fox. We're going to get a guy who comes in and knows offense. And
they could with Sean Payton.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
two guys. One's a pipe dream, one I could see happening. Sean Payton being one.
Jim Harbaugh.
Where, bingo.
Yeah.
And the thing with that, and the reason why it's a pipe dream right now, is we got to see what Michigan does this year. Because last year, season didn't end so well for Michigan.
Yeah.
If Michigan has another season where it's like, yeah, it's a good season, but you couldn't beat Ohio State, couldn't win the Big Ten, do the Bears try to get him out of college to come back? And like the one thing we talked about, one thing we always talked about with Jim Harbaugh is, well, he would need the perfect storm. You've already built some defensive help there. You have your quarterback of the future, a guy that Harbaugh could work with. A team like Chicago where Harbaugh has some history, that's the pipe dream. I put my tinfoil hat on for that one.
Yeah.
Sean Payton could be an option. Any other offensive-minded coach that comes out next year could be an option for the Bears next year. And that's the reason why I think this is John Fox's last year. Because after this year, I think the Bears are going to look at it. We have our quarterback of the future coming in. We want to set him up for success. We need an offensive-minded head coach.
Part of me just thinks that I think Ryan Pace understands this team's rich tradition of defense. We want defensive coaches.
I'm confident in Vic Fangio.
Remember Mark Trestman? And when we got that offensive coach that was a quarterback guru, and what happened? One of the worst seasons in Chicago Bears history. Also one of the best scoring offenses for the Chicago Bears the previous year. But one of the worst seasons in Chicago Bears history. I just want to throw that out there. Second thing I want to say directly to Rosenblum here. Since him and I are at odds, this is not the only time this has happened. It's just I don't understand the Pace drafted as if he is playing New Orleans Saints color forms. So you're saying that while he was with an organization, because he came from the Saints, that's where the comparison's coming from, he got himself he had a successful quarterback, he had one of the best tight ends at the time, and an incredible Darren Sproles. So, GM mimics what was successful for Super Bowl winning team.
Well, and
why is that a problem?
Well, no, I'm taking that as, when I read that, I didn't see that as a problem. I'm seeing that as he's got his quarterback who matched up.
You're
like
saying
Drew
what
Brees.
the missing piece is.
He matched up with Jimmy Graham. What his tight end hopefully is going to be. John Fox does not fit. It's like John Fox to the Sean Payton hole is like taking a triangle piece and trying to jam it into the circle hole. It's not going to fit. And that's why, to me, is if Ryan Pace is trying to do this and he's trying to, and I don't know, I'm not in the room with Ryan Pace, but if you're going to go with this point, if you're trying to get the guy and try to build a similar offense to what you had with the Saints, then why wouldn't you go out there and get an offensive coach? And for me, I think one of the biggest mistakes by the Bears, and of course Bears fans might not be on board with me, but this is after 1 year, I think the Bears last year should have been like, no, Adam Gase, you are staying, be our head coach. John Fox, you can leave.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a gamble for sure. Something interesting here, in case anyone's curious, the career record head coaching is 53% for John Fox. 58% for Sean Payton, just in case anyone's curious on the comparison between those two. You could go a lot further into what the actual comparisons are.
The Saints haven't been very good the last couple of years either.
Correct.
Really,
but Sean Payton is the head coach.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where that defense, to me, is the big thing of why the Saints...
Well, that's the funny thing is back then... Sean Payton, back then, we're talking about the offense here, but back then it was the defense that made the Saints what they were. And I just think it's funny that he talks about, having a dirty, cheating defense for the Bounty Gate. Well, unfortunately, that's kind of what made them good.
It worked.
It
kept my team out of a Super Bowl, and I hate it every single day.
And you have this team where they were best when they were cheating, essentially. And
Thank
someone
you.
can make that argument.
Thank you, because Dave and Sean said it's not cheating, which I said it is.
Bountygate, it's against the rules.
It's cheating.
It's cheating.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing with me, Mark.
It's against the rules.
I knew I liked you for a reason.
It's against the rules, and therefore it's cheating. So you're saying that you need this head coach who had this culture of cheating. I don't know. It's just
that was a jab. To me, that was a jab at Bountygate, and it in your sense, reading the article, it failed. It's not going to hit with everybody. But the point that I'm looking at, and the one thing that you mentioned was, well, look at Mark Trestman, offensive-minded coach. The thing is, I mean, Lovie Smith, defensive-minded coach, but really, Lovie Smith was there for almost 2 decades.
And he understood nothing about offense.
He knew nothing about the offense, but he built a defense that was amazing, yes. But the thing that I look at in the 90s when we were kids, Dave Wannstedt and Dick Duran, what's the one position the Bears never had and never risked to go get?
Well, this is franchise history. Quarterback.
I mean, every single comment section for the Bears, what do we hear? Well, we've never had a quarterback.
And then they got mad when the Bears draft a quarterback.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Now that you have that quarterback, I think that the writing on the wall we talked about it for Alex Smith, the writing on the wall for John Fox is going to be, hey, you know what? We did something that we don't normally do. We went out and traded for a guy that I believe is going to be our franchise quarterback. I want to make sure he's successful. I'm going to do something completely different and go out there and get a offensive-minded head coach, because I am confident that the defensive coordinator that we have right now in Vic Fangio can hold down the fort while the head coach focuses on the offense and gives us something that we've never had.
Yeah, I certainly,
being the Bears, I
certainly think it's possible. I mean, I don't want to say that. I just think that people are, one, jumping the gun a little bit. Two, it's not just we have a good quarterback, therefore we need a coach that understands quarterbacks. The coach has to understand everything. And it's 110% okay for a coach to say, hey, I'm a defensive guy. Offensive coordinator, you handle them. I'll check in and see how everything's going. It's completely fine. I mean, no team knows something like that better than the Chicago Bears for having essentially 2 head coaches in Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka. So I don't know. I am not ready to jump the gun on that, and I know a lot of people have already said that, you know, Ryan Pace and John Fox and everybody is gone. They've already declared that.
I mean, I think John Fox is gone at the end of the year.
I think we got to play the games first. I think it's very silly to say. You could say that, sure, it would make sense to go this way, but until we play games, it's silly to say whether a head coach is going to get fired or not.
Saying John Fox is gone at the end of the season, that's my prediction. Like you said, we got to play the games. I don't know exactly how the Bears are going to do, and I don't know what they're going to get. No, they're not going
16-0. Trubisky's going to win. Actually, Glennon's going to win it. We'll trade Glennon.
Super Mike,
then Trubisky.
Super Mike, Super Bears. Is that where we're going with this year? Super Mike, Glennon, Super Bears?
Yeah, Super Mike, Super Bears.
But, and the one thing from this article that I do want to say I don't know where it came from is I just want to ask you, the Bears didn't draft anyone with a history of domestic violence, correct? Because
I can't think of anything.
Because at the end of the article, he mentions a tweet from former Raiders executive Amy Trask, where it says, "Draft day is always a good moment to remember Steve Kerm's wise words. If Hannibal Lecter ran a 4.3, we'd say he has an eating disorder." Which I read that and was like, but I don't think the Bears drafted anybody with huge problems like the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Browns.
I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if that's
just a draft thing in general.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of what player they might be talking about. Of course, I mean, there's certainly some legal issues that are still floating about, and Joe Mixon, of course, as well. So I don't really know if that's directly related to the Bears.
Like Conley with the Raiders.
Yeah.
You have Joe Mixon with the Bengals, and then Brantley with the Browns. Those are the only ones I can really think of, and that just was out of place for me in an article.
Although it does say NFL teams taking players with history.
Which I just thought was thrown in there haphazardly.
To me, this this because we're talking about the article.
And that's what sparked the conversation.
Yeah, this article, and I saw a million other ones by a million other people that were just, to me, wanting to grab the headline of everything is terrible in Chicago, because right now a lot of Chicago fans feel like things are going badly. So let's jump on that momentum. Where it's ridiculous, instead of the hope of, hey, let's get excited. There's a young quarterback in town, where people are going so far as to be like, talking about how he was booed at the Bulls game the other day, where then anybody who was there was like, oh, actually, they weren't really booing him. They're said Chicago Bears, and people booed. Then they said Trubisky, and people applauded, and they cheered, and people were taking pictures with him.
So it's one of those things where...
It's just the way that the narrative's being swayed.
Or it could be one of those things... People aren't mad at Trubisky for being drafted. They're mad at the team for drafting him.
Kind of, yeah. They're mad because they don't understand the direction.
Boo, why did you draft him, Mitch Trubisky? No, I got nothing against you.
Yeah, right. Yay. You're all right, kid. I think a lot of fans are just confused. They don't understand the direction that's going on. I
think you'll see that direction when you go with an offensive coach at the end of the year.
It's possible. I saw something that was good that was saying that, Chicago fans just aren't used to this.
No.
This is how teams are built. It doesn't make sense all the time, but you get your pieces when they're important and when you need to.
And I can tell you
and then you can build an actual team.
I can tell you from experience with my team, going out and trading for Brett Favre to bring in that quarterback that's like, hey, we have a team here that can make a Super Bowl run. Brett Favre is one of the best. Let's grab him.
And that's not something you can do every day.
And I know it's not the same thing getting a quarterback so high, but when we got Teddy Bridgewater, trading up back into the first round to grab Teddy Bridgewater at the end of that first round that year, just to say we have our quarterback of the future. And for me, my team has done that before. They haven't done it to the extent of the Bears moving up so high in the draft, trading up from 3 to 2. I mean, the last highest quarterback I remember us taking was Christian Ponder, and I want to say that was
those are good days.
The early teens, I want to say, and that was the year that we really wanted Jake Locker and really liked Jay Locker. Good thing we didn't get Jake Locker, because he didn't.
You ended up with Christian Ponder, so what's the difference?
I mean, Joe Webb played that playoff game, right? But yeah, any final thoughts on the question of John Fox and this being his last year?
I mean, my whole thing is this, and maybe this will bug people in the comment section, but you can't say anything about it yet because we haven't played games. Sure, you can see why it would make sense, but you can also see why no, it's not going to make sense. We just don't know anything right now, and people are trying to put definite answers on a situation with a million question marks.
Well, and my side of it, I've said it enough. I'll say it one more time. I do think this is John Fox's last year, but it's not necessarily, man, he's a bum of a coach. It's, hey, we've got the quarterback of the future. Let's pair him up with somebody who can come in and work with him from the head coaching side. Because, like you said, Dowell Loggins is above his pay grade. And right now, if I'm the Bears, if I had to pick either Dowell Loggins or Vic Fangio being on their own virtually to run their respective side, Vic, you got this. Vic, go handle the defense. I'm confident in you.
But
Dowell, you need some help. Let's bring in an offensive-minded head coach.
No, I don't think they would keep him. You can get rid of your offensive coordinator and replace him.
Then get rid of both.
You don't have to get rid of both, is what I'm saying. You can just get rid of the offensive coordinator. John Fox is not the offensive mastermind like you're saying. So if you think things are good on the defense, you can leave the defense alone and just say, let's just fix this one thing that needs to be fixed instead of blowing up a team's, not management structure, but blow up the head coaching structure here and have to address many things.
And another thing that plays into that we did not touch about, because obviously we are not in the room, depends on the relationship between Ryan Pace and John Fox too. If it's a healthy relationship, that plays into it. If it's an unhealthy relationship, that'll play into it too. But apparently, obviously, we're not in the room, so we can't comment on if John Fox likes Ryan Pace and vice versa. But that's going to do it for the Onside Kick this week. I want to thank you guys for either watching on YouTube or listening to us on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, or Stitcher. If you have not already, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to check us out on patreon.com/most valuable podcast. Just another way for you guys to help support the channel so we can do much better things than what we are doing each and every day for you guys. I want to thank you one last time for checking us out. And as always, have a good day, everybody. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that segment from the Onside Kick. If you think the fun stops there, you're wrong, because click the video right over here. What are you thinking? Come on, click it. It's going to go away. It's going to go away. Bye, everybody.